What's good, y'all? Falcons family, it is Sunday. We are back with Falcons Daily. I am CG Craig Green, your host, and I am happy to be with you this lovely weekend, first weekend of summer, getting closer and closer to Falcons training camp. And as we get closer and closer to camp, some of those free agent names, some of the more recognizable names that you may know from around the league, they're going to start popping up, and you're going to start seeing some rumors about them joining some teams, trying to position themselves to make playoff runs, win Super Bowl rings, yada, yada, yada. So one of those players today we're going to talk about is one guy. He was a wide receiver who is well known. He played for the Oakland Raiders, also played for the Dallas Cowboys for a period, Cleveland Browns, and just coming off of his last stint with the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns. He is a wide receiver out of the University of Alabama, 6'1", 211. His name is Amari Cooper. Do you think Amari Cooper could help or hurt the Falcons if they decide to kick the tires on somebody like him? First question I have is, how many footballs do they play with on the field? Because I don't know if there'd be enough footballs for Amari Cooper, who is typically a number one receiver. He's typically someone who's not going to, take a back seat and be the 3 or the 4. Not sure how much he's willing to compromise any of that right now, but he is getting a little up there long in the tooth. He just had his 31st birthday earlier this week. So could Amari Cooper be someone that the Falcons could rely on, could call in as a camp body, maybe to beef up that wide receiver room? We kind of talked about DJ Shark the other day. Could he help the Falcons out? I think Amari Cooper could help the Falcons, but again, I don't know how much that would stunt the growth of the guys underneath him. Where do you put him? How many snaps does he get? Again, he's a former number one. Would he be willing to take a reserve role in order to make a playoff run, or just to even stay healthy to make his way through the season? But again, Amari last season played 14 games, had 4 touchdowns, 547 receiving yards. Down numbers for somebody like Amari Cooper, but right now I don't think it's a good idea for the Falcons. I think that he would have tough time trying to get catches and yards and touchdowns. He would probably need an incentive-laden contract as well. I don't think he'd hit any of those incentives in the A, especially with what we've already got at wideout. My guy Magnum TA, Tyler Algier, he's another person that is of interest to me right now. Should we trade him? Should we tag him, or should we re-sign Tyler Algier? Again, he is playing on the last year of his contract, his rookie contract. He would be eligible for a franchise tag. He would be eligible for a transition tag for the Falcons. And, we've got to find a way to keep Magnum TA in the fold, I think. Last year, 644 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Remember, he went for 1,000 yards as a rookie. And then we drafted Bijan Robinson to add strength on top of strength. So I love that thunder and lightning combination between Bijan and Tyler. And if we break that up, I think it's going to really hinder the running game. I know we still have Carlos Washington. I know we just brought in Jashawn Corbin from the UFL, their leading rusher from the Brahmas. But, there is, maybe for me, there's some familiarity with Tyler Algier, some comfortability. But I know when he comes into the game, he's going to run somebody over. He's going to hit that hole hard. He's going to drag ball carriers across that first down marker. So he's somebody that I trust. There's too much unknown if you let him walk out the door. But it also depends on where he's at in his mind and his career, too. Does he think he's a number one guy? Does he want to play somewhere else? Is he okay with the role that he has in Atlanta, getting the amount of snaps that he has and doing what he does, working with Bijan? You can tell that they've got a good rapport, especially when you're watching that the Falcons Roblox Italian brain rot video. You could tell that Tyler and Bijan have a good memory, a good rapport and relationship, just by the way that they're interacting. So, in my opinion, you got to re-sign him. You got to find a way to clear some cap space and keep Tyler Algier at least for another 2 to 3 years. One of the last topics on my mind, y'all, is about the playoffs. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? We haven't been there in about 7 or 8 years, but there were some discussions at the owners' meetings about a couple months ago, about changing the playoff format. Tell me what you guys think about the playoff format. Right now, of course, it's 7 seeds on each side. First seed gets the bye. The other 6 teams play it out in wild card weekend. And of course, all division champions, regardless of your record, your regular season record, will get a home game. So there was discussion at the owners' meetings about trying to reward wildcard teams who had better records than the division champions, rewarding them with a home playoff game. I think it's a ridiculous idea, and I think it's a stupid idea, because then you would have to completely reshuffle how you schedule every opponent. You'd have to go to more of a regionalized schedule to not only minimize travel, but also to bring the intrigue of playoff matchups. The next thing you'd have to do, again, is you'd have to completely do away with the divisions, abolish the divisions, and just go NFC and AFC from that point forward. That's what you would have to do if this is going to work. But again, there's precedent for this thing to kind of stay where it's at. I mean, the number one precedent, I would say, I mean, just when you look at wild card teams who have made the Super Bowl, or losing teams with losing records who have made, to make the playoffs. Right now, there is a list of six teams that have done it, that have made the playoffs with a losing record. So it's an anomaly. It's something that doesn't happen all the time, and it's not like they win playoff games all the time and they're robbing a wild card team of a home game. Here's how. I mean, in the current structure, look, if you're a wild card team, point blank, you didn't do enough to win your division. You didn't. So the teams who are, who sometimes have 2 and 3 teams in the playoffs. Remember, the NFC South had that back several years ago, where we had, I want to say it was 2017, where we had 3 teams in the playoffs. New Orleans won the division. The Falcons had to play on the road. Hey, that's how it goes. But also, I mean, the thing of it is again, they don't win all the time. Matter of fact, wild card teams or teams with losing records have only won 2 playoff games in the entire history. That was the Seahawks, Carolina Panthers 2014, 2010 Seattle Seahawks. And the coach of the Seattle Seahawks back then in 2010, Pete Carroll, chimed in on this. And, he said he was going to vote in favor of keeping things the same. And what he was going to, and his quote behind that was, he said, "Remember what we did with it? Remember that freaking game? Nobody ever thought." They were saying, "This is the worst matchup in history of the NFL, and we're going to get murdered." That's what Pete Carroll was saying when it was, and what he's referring to is the Seahawks, who were 7-9 in 2010, taking on the world champion at the time, the world champion New Orleans Saints. And the reason why he said they were going to get murdered, folks, this was right in the middle of the Saints in their bounty gate scandal. They were putting bounties on players. They were purposely trying to injure players at the time. Let's call a spade a spade. That's what was going on at the moment. That's how they even got to their Super Bowl. Remember, they shouldn't have even got there in the first place. Plenty of illegal hits on Brett Favre that were not called in New Orleans, mind you. Go figure. But again, Pete Carroll back then in 2010, 15 years ago, basically, he set the precedent for why these games matter, why division champions should be rewarded with home playoff games. And again, if you are a team like, for example, last year we had the NFC North had 3 teams in the playoffs, right? The Detroit Lions division champions. Guess what? If Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota all made it. If you're Green Bay, tough luck. You didn't win enough games. You're on the road. I don't think they should really accommodate second and third place teams who did not do what they were supposed to do in the regular season with a home playoff game, just for the aesthetics of a 7-9 Seahawks or a 7-8-1 Carolina Panthers or an 8-9 Tampa Bay Buccaneers team from 2022. They were the last one to make the playoffs with a losing record, and they lost their wild card game to the Dallas Cowboys. Matter of fact, the last wild card team to even win the Super Bowl was Tampa Bay in 2020. So again, things need to stay exactly where they are. I don't see a reason why we need to change it up. All right, Falcons family, it's time for you to sound off in the comments. Sound off in the comments, Falcons family, and let me know some of the things that you want to see done on the show. Things that you want to talk about on the show. Talk about we can talk about all the things. We've been talking about free agency, rumors. We've been talking about trades that could happen, all those type of things. We can chop it up, and we've had plenty of folks chime in over the last few days Bryce chimed in also the other day, and he was talking about, Simeon Barrow. We've had plenty of discussions. So again, we love the interaction. Please make sure that you leave some stuff in the comments. And as well, make sure you give us a follow at Craig G Sports. That's me. Give me a follow. CRAIG, the letter G, and the word sports. And also make sure you give Fan Arch Co a follow up here in the corner. FANARCH, the letter C, the letter O. And of course, I've got my daughter Harper here with me one more time. Harper, we're getting close to the end of the show. Number one thing that everybody needs to know.
Rise up and ATL.
And make sure they need to do what?
Keep on dancing.
That's right. Like and subscribe. And also make sure you give us a follow there as well. Harper, what do we tell everybody at the end of the show?
Sayonara and buenas noches.